if I poured you a drink, would you sit down and talk with me? Lend me your ear and I'll bring you along. We can split the day rate 50-50. Oh, baby, I get by. Oh, and all I need is somebody, yeah. Oh, I'm gonna get high. Oh, 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 oh. Baby, I need somebody. Oh, all I need is somebody. Oh, I'm gonna get high.
Welcome to the PRO EDU podcast. We talk and drink with your favorite artists. So grab yourself a cold sarsaparilla, take your pants off, kick back, and enjoy. I don't know about you, I take comfort in that.
All right, I believe we are live. We are 2 weeks into this live podcast. Today, I'm joined with commercial fashion and beauty retouchers, Day and Dallas, based out of LA. Guys, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having us, man. We're honored to be here.
So give me the backstory. You guys have been working all over from New York down south. You guys are now based in LA, and you kind of do everything.
Yes, we do everything.
So how did this come about?
How did we come about like a team?
Yeah.
Okay. Day, why don't you tell them how we came about as a team?
I was working for a Vibe magazine in New York, and they asked me a quote for something, and I went to a friend of mine, and I was like, hey, how much should I charge for this? And he was like, I don't know that stuff. He says, go ask Dallas. And I was like, who is Dallas? He was like, check my friends list, check for Dallas. And I went to his friends list, and I was like, hey, Dallas. I'm a photographer, work for this magazine. They want to know this. How much should I charge? And he was like, how much do you want? And I was like, if I knew, I wouldn't be asking you. Then after that, it was just like I was following each other and talking. And one day he was like, what do you want to do? And I said, fashion photography. He's like, well, why are you doing what you're doing now? And I was like, I don't know. And then I started to assist him. He was like, you want to be my assistant? I was like, yes,
Because he was doing a lot of album covers for rappers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so the rappers would give him these really hideous photos, and he'd have to turn them into something. And I saw his work, so I said, I see the talent there. And it's like, why would you want to do fashion and stuff, but you're working with these guys? And when I saw his fashion work, he was at the precipice. When you first start shooting, shoot all your friends and stuff, and you try to shoot your friends like fashion models. It's like, that's not going to work if you want to join this business. So I'm like, if that's what you want to do, I'll teach you what I know.
And the rest is history.
That's it.
Yeah.
So who's the better photographer now? Is it still
who's the better photographer? No, I wouldn't say that. I think we both bring something to the table that's completely different. Like we both have a crazy, whenever we do a shoot, we shoot simultaneously, pass the camera back and forth. And when you get the overall look of the images, it all makes sense together, but we bring certain things to a shoot that I probably wouldn't do by myself and he wouldn't do by himself. So it's equal. I wouldn't say one's better than the other.
We both have our strengths and weaknesses. Since he's a heck of a lot younger than me, he's still in the dream stage. So he's the Tim Walker of the group. And so he comes up with these elaborate stories that he really wants to do. And then he'll give it to me, and I'll put it together in logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, he did a photo shoot called Jane. And one of the scenes is the model is putting her victim into a trunk of a car. So I'm like, how are you going to do that? He said, we're going to park the car in the street, and we're going to shoot in the street. I'm like, that's not going to work like that. So I said, let's work out the logistics. If we use our parking lot and you angle your camera properly, you won't even see that you're in a parking lot. So it's those things. So he wants to fly, and then it's my job to say, okay, we're going to fly. How can we make this happen?
So when a client hires you guys, they're getting you both no matter what. It's not one or the other.
It's both. No
It's
matter
both of
what.
us.
Yeah, no matter what.
It's
a
just
duo.
the difference is who's spearheading the project. Because if they
Yes.
contact me, I got the lead. If they contact him, he has the lead.
Yes. Or if, say, for instance, if I have the lead, but the client is connecting to Dallas and really like how he commands something, you do it. Because at this point, it's about the client. It's not about either one of us. We don't take that personal. It's more like, who's the best person to get the job done?
Right.
If you're connected more to him, then I'm like, this is perfect. And ego out the window.
Out the window.
Yeah. But as long as the job's
Nice.
done, and as long as
So from the production side, so you guys are producing it, you guys are the photographer, and then also retoucher. You guys are doing all of your retouching as well in post?
Retouching as well.
absolutely
Yes.
every project, 99% of the time, we're retouching our own work. The only 1% of the time, say for instance, if we have a client that have a huge load and they're like, we need these images by tomorrow, and I know for a fact I can't get all that done.
Or they have their own retouching department.
Or they have their own retouching department. We'll, release the
We're
images.
we're not those people who can't release raw photos and say,
Oh,
"Oh
no.
no, we have to do all the retouching." No. We prefer that. If you have a good retouching house,
do it. I think with us, with me, I like to do the retouch most times, because you can see everything through. So sometimes I have an idea and I'll tell you, I see this, and you'll say, and I'll say, okay. Then we'll shoot it. Then I'll retouch. You say, oh, I see what you're talking about. And I like for the idea to go through completely
from start to finish.
So you can see, what I had in my mind.
And what we also do is, if he sees any star pupils in his courses, we'll end up hiring them.
Yes,
because they understand our retouching style.
Yes, so that's the
yeah.
I love that you guys give away, and you're not I would say too particular about your raw files. I know, like, the one way to get a photographer or retoucher worked up is to ask them to, like, release the raw files and let someone else, do it.
Wait,
I remember, like, in the early days of PRO EDU, when I was, like, trying to come up with, like, why are we going to be different? It was like, we have to give away the raw files. And I remember photographers, even still to this day, like, some won't work with us because it's like, I'm not giving my raw files in the course. And it's like, well, how are people going to learn? Like, not everyone can just, like, go reshoot it. Some people need to start with your files and work alongside you to get those same results. It's not that they're copying you. So I love that you guys are giving that away.
One of my sayings is, be proud of your before shots. A lot of photographers aren't proud of their work, so they hide behind the retouch. And my job is, you're a photographer, so stand on the photograph itself, not the retouch.
Yeah.
Because when the client's hiring you, they're seeing the final product. But we've been in shoots, and our before shots aren't much different than our after shots.
Another interesting thing too is when we're working for magazines, 9 times out of 10, we don't have any control of the retouch. Like, they literally take the photos from there and that's it. So sometimes when you work with magazines, they take the photos and retouch, and it is what it is. So you have to make sure you get it in camera.
But our own particular projects that we do for ourselves, we handle all the retouch.
Yes.
I love that. And Day, you teach retouching. So I had a question about, how do you see Photoshop changing in terms of, like, the future in the next few years of, like, your retouching skills, right?
You know what? I think Photoshop is making things easier, but it's also making people a little bit lazier. And that's the part that I'm a little bit sketchy when it comes down to that. These new things. Oh, check this filter, do this. And I know every photographer isn't a retoucher, and it's great for those who aren't. But those who are retouchers, I don't want to take their job away. And on top of that, the program, the AI, it can't predict exactly what you see. So it's very interesting watching Photoshop build and turn into this new thing. And when you take my course, I go back to the basics and I say, this is this is that. Just in case you come to something that you can't get around, because 9 out of 10, Photoshop and hair is weird. it's a bunch of new things that I love. Don't get me wrong, I love it. It's making it easier. The selection tools are easier. The AI, some of the AI tools are it's incredible. But I am basic. Like if you see me retouch, it is very basic, but it looks beautiful in the end. And I don't know. Yeah.
I think one of the problems we're having, and this is just technology, both on the hardware side and the software side, is the new sentence is all you have to do is.
Oh yeah.
And what begins to happen is people take what artists as photographers and retouchers, they tend to belittle what we do because now all I have to do is just order Photoshop. I click 3 buttons and I got a masterpiece. And it's like,
no,
it's not quite that way. So that's what the mindset is. So people are buying Photoshop, they're clicking a few buttons, and they're thinking that they're doing something. And it still takes the artist being behind the tablet in order for that artwork to be created. It's more than just clicking a few buttons. Same thing with photography. All these cameras coming out are essentially doing all the work for us. So people are buying cameras and they're saying, and so we're losing work. So they say, I don't need you. I can just buy a camera, or I can just use my iPhone and run it through some AI app, and boom, I'm just as good as you. It's like I've been at this for 30 plus years. You'll never be there, you know.
And on top of that, just thinking about like artists, Amy Dresser is a retoucher. She's phenomenal. Pratik is an incredible retoucher. And think about how many years they come up with, how many years that we had to study and learn different techniques and learn new things. So I don't want to take away from us artists and learning new techniques. And I like Photoshop. Don't get me wrong, it's my world, but some of the tools are just like, you know, I can't explain it. Some stuff start to look the same. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't know. I'm just a dude. Just an opinion, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, yes, there's a lot of similarities in styles, and today it's so hard to come up with your own unique style, whether it's in retouching or photography. So do you guys think there's styles, still out there that we haven't seen yet?
Absolutely. There's a ton of oh my God, there's a ton of artists that I follow just because I'm a forever learning I want to learn everything. I want to see everything. Photographers, of course, there are tons of new photographers that are incredible, and their retouchers. I love that they tag their retouchers, and a lot of the retouchers are part of the team. Ahmad and Dante have their own retoucher. There's another duo photography group
out of Atlanta.
Who am I thinking of? I love their work. It's leaving me, but it's another one. They have retouches that basically is tied into the work. Like we know Amy Dresser was tied into Jill Greenberg's work. So and they're still there, and they do incredible things and new things that we have yet to see. So yeah, they're out there. Is the retouch and photography world is heavily saturated, but there are ones who are, to me, standouts. Like, I've never seen that before. That's incredible.
I think what's going to eventually happen is what a lot of photographers are doing. They're playing in the world of AI. And unfortunately, a lot of the AI work is looking visually better than their own photography. So it's almost like the photographers have to catch up with the quality of their work to match that of AI. And I feel that's what they're going to start doing, because I'll see somebody produce a photograph and then I'll see something stunning in their Instagram play, and it's like, wow, what did you do here? And then you go down the feed and realize it was AI. Yeah. And it's like, and then if you're a really good photographer, it makes you go, you can do that with your camera. That doesn't have to be an AI thing. So I think what's going to begin to happen is the photographers are going to have to up their game to match their AI artistry. Because what's happening is clients are looking at, and it's a really bad thing, the clients are looking at these AI images and say, I want that. And it's like, that's AI.
Literally had a client with a mood board. They had created a mood board. I was so impressed, like, oh my God, this client created a mood board. And she's like, yeah, I use AI. And I was like, oh, okay. And all the images, I was like, we can't get that. We can't get that. Because where we were, we were shooting in the studio, and she had us in like an office somewhere. And I was like, this had to be shot differently. But it's.
So maybe that's what's going to happen now. We're going to have to dust up the laziness of the photographers today. And if you want to up your game, you start trying to match the AI photos, and that's gonna be some work.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, you know, with things like wedding photography, event photography, kind of headshot photography, those things are pretty much safe from AI. But with commercial and even like fashion,
Yeah.
does the person really have to be real? I think that's a really interesting, you know, topic. Like, does a Gap model or does a fashion model actually have to be real? If we get to the point where it's very easy to take real clothes, model them on fake people, and have infinite variations, why do we need to hire a portrait photographer and
And
retouching
that's
team
the
that costs
mindset
so much?
that's the mindset that's happening, and it's sad because AI is making a lot of people lose work. Like models are losing work. And another thing that gets me is when I'm drawn to an AI image, I'm actually drawn to the subject, and the subjects tend to be stunning. And then I'm finding myself trying to find that model and go, oh my God, that model doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is see, I can go to AI and create that model that I see in these images, but I want to connect with the model. I want to shoot the
Yeah.
model. It's more than just having a stunning subject with great features and great symmetry, but there's a connection, and that's what's missing. There's a connection between the model and the photographer to create that magic. The difference between a good photo and a great photo is for that 1/25th of a second, the model and the photographer fell in love for that one split second. That's why when you look at somebody like Naomi Campbell's arguably one of the best models we've ever had. There's sometimes she does her job and the photos are good. And then there's sometimes she does her job and you go, oh my God.
Like what happened here?
What happened here? The difference between those two photographs is her and the photographer fell in love for that one moment. And you
I
can
like how you put that.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
If you listen to the interviews with some of the photographers and the models, they'll tell you, oh my God, I love Peter Limber. He called us all together. We'll do anything for Peter. And then you see these photos and they're iconic photos. And then you see her, she did a shoot and I was like, you know, this is okay. And then you see the behind the scenes and it was
you can see the magic's not there.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So that's the intangibles that we have as artists.
Yeah.
Because we're drawn to the beauty of the person, but you want to connect with them. There's been times I've sat in studios when, oh my God, I'm dying to shoot this person, and we just didn't have a connection. I got the job done.
Yeah. The photos, don't get me wrong, the photos would be good. It's just those photos that are like stunning. You like,
but we can go through anybody's feed and we can tell
if you
that
love
photographer
them,
loved that model.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah, it's different.
It's
a different feeling to the images. I can tell each time. Like you was doing your job here.
My adage is this. I use this when I talk with models. I say, to me, a photo shoot's like a bout of lovemaking. It's my job to make you feel sexy, sad, angry, happy. It's your job as the model to convey that back to me. The better our lovemaking, the better our babies are, and the babies are the photos. So I want beautiful babies,
no matter what.
So no matter what.
Who wants an ugly baby? You name me one person. Wants an ugly baby.
Exactly. So that's how I always approach the photography realm. I want to fall in love with my subject just for that moment.
Yeah, because any longer that might be weird. You know?
Yeah, really weird.
You get one moment. And then so there's a middle ground, right? I've been having this ongoing conversation with Eric Almas, who has just actually published an article on Petapixel. He's been he's still using real people, but he is building these crazy environments that would normally be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was our entire tutorial with him. Shows you how to composite real people into crazy spaces. And he'll often Photoshop several different spaces and several different things together to create this surreal environment that is this really weird millimeter of a background. And he's now taking advantage of AI and creating these incredible environments and then using composition to complement. So have you guys started doing that in your work and create really cool environments, props, that sort of thing?
Not necessarily. prior to AI, I used to do the same thing for different like rappers and things like that, or create these worlds and again compositing a bunch of things, put them together. But in our personal work, because it's beauty and fashion, it's not something that we actually do on the daily. But not saying I'm against it. I got some pretty interesting ideas, and I'm like, okay, I need that, and I can't shoot that, so I'm gonna see if I can get some AI to do it, or it doesn't exist. So I'm going to see if I can do it. Yeah, but I'm not against it, but we haven't done it as of yet. Everything has been straightforward, still to what you call it, soups and nuts, straightforward photography, fashion photography, beauty photography. Yeah, no,
Not yet.
Not
so
yet.
The answer to the question is not yet.
To be
It sounds like we need to do it. I'll provide you guys with a crazy challenge, and then we'll see if we can put it together.
Oh, definitely.
We'll rise to the challenge. Challenge
And
accepted.
since you teach Live Day, we'll have to do the whole thing live.
Okay.
He'll work it out. I'll give him logistics, and then we're all yours.
Yes. All right. Sounds like we're going to have to set a date and see how this whole thing unfolds live. That'd be really cool.
We can do that. We can definitely do that. Because it's even teaching, understanding of things have become so easy with regards to AI. Like, we'll look at photos that were done composite-wise or AI, and you look at the lighting, you're like, the lighting would never be that way.
So I look at a bunch of comps, and I'm like, that's
a composite
That's
shot.
incorrect. Because I can look at the AI and where the light is falling, I'm like, and where they lit the person, that is not correct. So sometimes when you look at stuff, it's like, something's wrong. What's wrong?
And being a photographer, you're looking at a photo that you want to like, but you can't quite put your finger. Something.
Not that it's bad. It's not bad. It's just something is weird about this photo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is it?
Like subconsciously, like how light works, even if you can't explain it. So if you see something that, a creative director is like, comped together and the perspective's off and maybe there's two horizons, you're like, why does that look weird? So if you don't have like an artist background, you can't really explain it. So, for all the photographers now, like making really cool stuff, you really still need to have this foundational knowledge of like how art works and why you like stuff, and like to be able to talk about it. Otherwise, you're not going to make it very far in this industry.
Exactly. Or just do it so you can see your photos won't look weird. Or unless you want it to look weird.
Unless
it's intentionally that way, then I'm like, okay, this may work. Because I've seen work on purpose that looks, they play around with perspective. But again, that comes from knowing.
You have to know
already. So
it's like David LaChapelle, like super weird.
That's an example.
That's what he wanted.
Yes. And Tim Walker's also a really weird.
Another one.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we've talked about a lot of influences, but I want to go further. Like, you guys seem like you have a very strong amount of influences in this industry. So who are the people that like have really impacted your work? And Dallas, we'll start with you since you've been around a little longer. Like, coming up, who are the people you like fell in love with and you're like, oh, this is like the GOAT of photography?
I'm really straightforward and real simple with my work. It will be people like Bruce Weber. It would be Patrick Demercier. It will be Peter Lindbergh, and above all of that, Herb Ritz.
Yeah, love that.
I didn't even realize I never realized that photography can be a vocation. And I was in high school. I was the kid who always had a camera in high school, and I went to a performing arts high school. I went to the Fame School in New York, and a friend of mine said she needed photos. She needed actors' headshots for her agent. And she says, if they're good, I'll pay you for it. I'm like, pay me? You pay to get photos done?
Mm-hmm.
So I took the photographs. The agent loved them and then started sending me clients. And now I'm looking at anything that's a photograph like, oh my God, they got paid to do this. They got paid to do these billboards and these album covers and these magazine things. It blew my mind away. So then I started looking, because back in the days, we didn't know who the photographers were, not like today. So I had to start doing the research of who I liked and why I liked them. And Herb Ritz always rose to the top.
For me, I'm a huge fan of Stephen Klein, huge fan of Merton Marcus, Stephen Meisel, the ones he named already. We have a ton of books, Irvin Penn and
Richard Avedon,
and
Merton Marcus.
I named them.
Like, between the two of us, I'm heavily into the black and white, where Day's heavily into the color.
Yes. And I like drama. I keep the drama in my photos and not my life. So
Miles Aldridge.
I love Miles Aldridge. That's another one. I love when photographers have a point of view, meaning you can tell that Peter Lindbergh's from Germany. It's in his work. You can tell Merton Marcus' love for color and I don't know. I just like artists. I like when somebody have a perspective that's not mine. I can come into your world. That's how I look at photographers. I'm able to walk into your world and be like, this is interesting. I love this. And it inspires me a lot. So
and mine is I like a visual signature. I like to be able to walk anywhere and go, that's Herb Ritz. That's Bruce Weber.
Mm-hmm.
That's Merton Marcus. I like the consistency that a person produces at any given time. However, the work isn't samey.
Yeah.
Because there's some photographers who produce work and it's like no matter what they do, the only difference is the subject matter. And after you see the work the first time, like, oh, this is really great. And then 5 years down the line, it's still the same photograph. Not that. There's a visual signature to all the artists that we talked about, but all the work isn't the same.
Yeah. And, you've mentioned a lot of people, and Merton Marcus, were they maybe the first duo? And was that maybe like an inspiration for you guys to kind of like try to team up?
I'd want to give it to Marcus Klinko.
Marcus Klinko and Indrani.
I would give it to them.
Okay.
Yeah. The connection between us is we're always together.
Yeah, all the time.
And what would happen is, even before we decided to become a duo, Day would say, Dallas, look at it from this side for a second.
Yeah.
And I'll go over there and I won't see what he sees. So I'll just say, take the shot.
Camera, yeah.
I don't see what you see. And he'll take the shot and I'll go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Say bad word. Like, oh, wow. So that's how we end up becoming that way. And so Day will go through my photos and say, let me retouch this photo for a second. I want to show you a different color grading.
Yeah. I will look a little bit different. Or it was always a collaborative thing. Even when I was his assistant, because I was his assistant for many years, it was always what do you think? How would you do this? Or I'll ask him, like, should I do it like this? And then he'll say, move over here. And I just be like, because I can't see what you see and I won't look at it that way. So instead of me shooting, trying to see what you have in your mind, take the camera and just shoot what you have in your mind.
So it was quite organic how that happened.
Yeah.
And it's funny, a lot of people will see our work before they got to know us. And they'll say, oh, you guys shoot just alike. It's like, no, we don't. We can be on the same shoot and we don't shoot alike. But when you start putting the photos side by side from the same shoot,
you can see.
You go, oh, I see the difference now.
Yeah.
So we can flip through our photos and I said, I started shooting here immediately.
You had to say anything like, that's Dallas. Because it looks like it's a different feel. It's a different eye. But Merton Marcus wasn't is an influence? Absolutely. But no, it came organically. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he would have shoots and I'm like, where's Day? And he'd be like, oh, such acts for you. And I'm like, oh, okay. And vice versa. So, look at them, of course. But yeah, it was just how it worked out. It made sense.
I love that. So I think we're at a point. Let's get into your guys' work. Can I pull up your guys' Instagram and share from there?
We're here for you.
Who do you want to start with?
Day.
What?
All right.
What do I have up there?
All right. So everyone go follow Day. And
Please,
I've been starting with the very first photo with basically everyone. So following this format, what happened here? What's this about?
We were shooting for Vanity Fair, Italy.
Italy.
Yeah, and we were shooting. What's his Ron?
His name is Ron Finley, and he's a botanist, for lack of a better word, based out of Los Angeles, and he's the not ghetto. That's not the term. He's the urban botanist. Yeah. And what happens is he takes the environment of his city and he teaches you how to bring greenery back.
Yeah, so he's got a masterclass, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
So we had to for Vanity Fair, and it was an incredible job. We had a great time. There's tons of laughs and tons of color, and it was just interesting. We had a great time. I love that photo of him because it was so honest. Like it was a real laugh. That wasn't laugh. It wasn't a smile. We were talking about something, and I think one of us made
And
a
I
joke.
can be incredibly inappropriate.
Absolutely.
I'm in the generation of Archie Bunkers, so I can be incredibly
So
inappropriate.
he probably said
I said
something
inappropriate,
and he
and
cracked up, and I snapped the shot, and I was just happy. Like this is a beautiful photo.
And we were channeling our inner Annie Leibovitz. So,
Yeah. Yep. I mean, she's pretty synonymous with Vanity Fair. So
yes.
Is Vanity Fair kind of like the pinnacle of, your guys' goals to shoot for, or is there other magazines and
portrait-wise Vanity Fair,
fashion,
any foreign Vogue,
Vogue and V magazine,
Numero,
W magazine for me too, because I love
L
magazine. Yeah.
So
love it. All right. Well, we'll go through all your pinned ones. So you have 3 pinned ones. So this is important that it stays there. So what does this one mean to you?
This was an actual test shot. I was shooting a series. I slipped up on some new lighting that I love, and Cody was the model, and Dallas had a bunch of fabric, and he was like, "Oh, let's test it. Let's test this thing on her." And I was like, I didn't want to do it because one, it was his fabric and it was his idea, and it was everything. And I was like, I really don't want to do it because this is your thing right now. And so I was like, you know what? Let's just take a couple of shots. I literally took 3 shots of her, and all 3 were stunning. And Dallas is actually holding the fabric, and I just looked at this photo and I loved it. I thought it was, I don't know, it just something about this image. It just reminds me of just
Love it. Yeah.
You know what's funny about this? He doesn't talk about his work,
and not at all.
So I force him to talk about his work. So I'm glad you're doing this, because most of the work I see, I'm there with him, so I know the backstory. So to someone who doesn't know anything about it, ask him. It puts him on the spot.
Yeah.
Do you have that thing called imposter syndrome that most photographers have?
I don't think it's imposter syndrome. It's just more like it's very weird to sit here and talk about yourself. It's weird.
Most creatives don't like doing it. That's why they're behind the camera.
Yeah. Did this shot. I'm so proud of this shot. It was my business card for many, 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 many years. She at the time she was 17, just came to New York. She just got signed that day to, I think, Wilhelmina. And I got a call and they were saying, "Hey, we have this model, love to work." I said, "Okay, cool." And we went to the studio. This is before the optical snoot and all that stuff. And she was young, and a lot of the photos she was smiling and stuff. And I was like, "No, they want you to do some beauty work. Let's get some beauty. Let's bring some sensualness to the image." And I had the light set up, and then her mom said, "Talk about her boyfriend." I was like, "What's his name?" She was like, "Michael." I said, "Okay, cool." So I had the camera compose the shot. And so I said, her name was Taylor. I said, "Taylor, so can you tell me about Michael?" She started to laugh, and she was like, "Michael?" Took the shot. That was it. I was like, "I got it." I got it.
Trick bagged you.
Got it.
That's it.
Yeah, so that was it. Oh, body work.
Nice.
So yeah, the framing. I did a test shoot with my guy Dave Crew. He writes for Petapixel, and
I know Dave Crew.
That's my family. That's my brother. I love him. So Dave was doing a shoot, and he wanted to do something portraity, and he needed a model. And I said, "Okay, I need a model." And this guy always wanted to work with me, and we never actually did it because of COVID and everything happened. He's like, "Oh, I would love to work with you." I was like, "Okay, look, me and my boy, we both did this together." And we came in and we shot him, and Dave did the portrait side. And I was like, "Hey, let me shoot you like a model." And I had all those things sitting around that had the gloves I had for years I never used. And I was like, I'm just going to bring it. It may work, it may not work. And I just did a bunch of whatever with it.
And are you just adding the Kodak portrait?
Oh, that's definitely fake. All that stuff is fake. Because I was talking to a friend, he was like, Kodak portraiture is color. I said, absolutely know that it's color. I'm not,
just going for the look. Nice.
Just going for the look.
Well, the lighting's fantastic. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
I'm sure he was pumped to have these.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was one of those. It was a, what do I call it? Like a test
It was
day.
a test shoot.
We were just messing around.
It was all about David that day,
Yeah,
and Dave paid the model with photos.
yeah. It was about Dave, and I was like, okay, so let me shoot some model stuff for you because he didn't have
He didn't
much
have any
model
model stuff, so.
And I was like, so let me shoot some model photos for you and have some fun and we was just playing around with a bunch of like different lighting and Dave was looking at me like, wow, that's what you do? I'm like, it's very simple. He was like, I really thought about doing it this way. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the human form, there's a big difference of shooting male and female. So
Yeah.
how do you light and how do you approach a male versus a female differently?
With women, with women, I like to shoot women so strong. I like shooting women strong. Lighting wise, do I approach them differently? I don't think I approach them much differently. No.
Okay.
I keep it the same. It's
That
more
was a
about
trick question. You guys almost fell for it. I like that.
like, I don't necessarily think I shoot them, any differently.
I don't have these photos.
Well, yes, you do. You got those.
Have you seen something for the first time?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I know him. I know. You guys know Brian?
What? That is
Yes.
family. Yeah.
Yes.
Doc and his family.
Yeah. I love Brian.
That
was our introduction to Dave.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So I met, David Crew and Brian back when I was working with Aaron at Flern, like way long time ago.
Yeah.
I don't have
This was a editorial we did during COVID. This is a long time ago. It just got released. And at that we did this. It was a long time ago.
It was before, so it had to be 2020.
No, it was like 20. It was during COVID. It was during
2020's COVID
because we were masked the heck up.
All right, what's this shoot?
That one was the big hair shoot. We had this hair. Everything came together in literally 48 hours. Yep. Yeah. We were shooting. I got the models, and I wanted to do this really big hair story. And I called the hairstylist. I was like, I want to do this thing. And then the makeup artist was like, okay, we can do this. And everybody, they're all artists. And I love how Shelly works. I love how Joseph works. They're very much like, let me see what you have in your mind. Okay, let me give my take on it.
Interpretation of what
and
you
so
want.
I love working with them. We got the models together, called Neiman up, and he gave us the outfits, and we said we're gonna have fun.
And we used Dave's space.
Dave's space. Dave was there. He actually shot. We made Dave shoot too because usually he's like, "Oh, I'll shoot BTS." Like, no. If you're gonna be on set with us, you're going to shoot. You're going to shoot. So we handed Dave the camera. And he was shooting. He was like, "Wow, you guys! The way you guys do this is so interesting." So we trying to convert Dave to have him come do some fashion work with us. So yeah,
I love that. And is this their real hair? Or are they wearing wigs?
No, not at all.
If you saw the model on the bottom, she has bone straight blonde hair.
She looks nothing like that.
Almost like Gwyneth Paltrow hair.
Nice. Yeah, you gotta love a good hair makeup.
The top model, some of that hair is hers, and then they just built on top of it.
Yeah, if you go to the what do you call it? The shot next to that one, the little pink, where she by herself.
This one?
Yeah, you can see what's her hair and what's not. No, you can't. Well, some of it, you really can't.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to if the retouching.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Oh man,
you almost walked into a trap.
Yeah, we don't approach things. I'm thinking about like the
what? This looks pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Look at this hair. Oh, sign me up for that. So
Shelly again. Shelly,
same hairstylist.
Same hairstylist. She's incredible. She does a lot of work for like the big brands. She did work for Prada and Louis Vuitton and
Tom Ford.
She works, and one of our favorite.
She does all the major Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week shoots, fashion shows,
and she's very, very. I can't explain it. She comes in what are we doing? And like, we need something that's different. Hair, again, a lot of hair.
That is, I mean, is this all custom made for this shoot or just pieced together?
A little bit of both.
Yeah. So what happens whenever we do these shoots? The stylist, everybody is an artist, and we like to respect our artists. So,
and we don't want them going to Ross. We don't want them going to Kohl's.
yeah,
We need them to bring their A game.
yeah. So this one we had Lisa doing the styling, and she came and she brought all of these things, and we was like, okay, how can we make this work? Put this together. She styled the heck out of it, and we just were playing around, moving things around to make a story where things are interesting. Things look we like things to look interesting, like things to feel interesting,
and we want them to feel memorable.
Yeah, you don't just want to take photos for taking photos, or it wasn't about the lighting, it wasn't about the space, it wasn't about anything else. It was about the
moment and the moment.
And yeah.
Love that.
Cynthia Bailey.
All right, so let's go down and maybe just tell me where to go next. Is there a shoot that stands out that you want to go over?
Stands out that okay, go here. Scroll down a little bit. Let's see who we got. A lot of dudes, because dudes don't require makeup.
Nice.
We can do that one. Yes, let's go to her.
This one?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we love
this actress.
Love her. And
do you know who she is?
I don't. But also, I'm looking at a screen that's a little far away. So
go to the next photo. To the one to the right. Yeah, let's see.
Let's even
further back.
There was a show. You ever saw the show 24 Hours with Kiefer Sutherland?
With Kiefer Sutherland?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a few episodes.
She was an actress on that show. She has a really deep, sultry voice. It's almost like she speaks like a tenor, and she always plays the Middle Eastern characters and all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
I know
her.
Soraya. So, a friend of ours had posted a photo with her, and I was like, I would love to shoot her. She was like, really? We can set that up. I was like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah. So on that day, we went to our home, and we had a friend of ours do the makeup and the hair, and she had her outfits already. And so she's like, where do you want me? And I was like, okay, let's figure this out. And Dallas and I do this thing sometimes. Whenever we're shooting portraits of people, we like to do things that look, we like the Vanity Fair portraits.
We like the Vanity Fair.
That look. And so we were in her home. Literally, light was coming through. I thought it was stunning. And we lit her so it can look just as natural. And took the photos. It looked like it's not lit. It's lit. And she took the photos, and she was so happy. So happy. She was like, these photos are stunning. I love them. We had a great time shooting those. I don't know. I thought it was stunning.
Now, it's funny because when you made the comment about shooting male versus female, we don't play in that arena like that. But when we do portrait versus fashion,
those things are different.
We have a whole. It's almost like you're working with the left brain versus the right brain.
Yeah.
So when we're doing portrait work, we want to do environmental portraits. So we look into the space we're in, and we say, okay, because the space is now a character, so we have to respect the space. Mm-hmm. So we'll shoot the space first until we get it exactly how we want it, light-wise. And then we bring in the subject, and we like the subject to be congruent to the space.
Yeah.
When we shoot the models, it's like, boom, it's about the model.
Yeah, model. That's it. It's about the model. I don't care what anything else, with anything else is, model. Space second.
So the lighting on this one, how long did it take to light, and how many lights are you using? Because it looks like, you lit it in a way to make it look like there's no lights, and it's just natural light.
It's two.
So to the right of her is a giant window, and she had diffused fabric over the window.
But
on top was open, as you can see behind her, the tree lights, the tree shadows falling into the space. So one of the things we learned from Annie L when she did a masterclass was, when I put light into the space, I put it in the same direction in which the natural light is with the ambient light. So we placed the artificial light at the same angle as the ambient light, and then blended them.
Yep.
Nice. And so is your light creating the shadow?
Which shadow?
No, that's actually
That's
outside.
actually
That's
actual
natural.
outside.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
natural.
that's the natural. Okay.
Yes.
So it
Nice.
was keeping things as natural as possible and just filling in the shadows to make things look like natural light.
So whenever
Yeah.
we're figuring this stuff out, we use the phrase, "This looks a little too strobe."
Yeah, it looks stroby, less stroby.
We want it less strobe.
Yeah.
Less
Absolutely.
stroby.
And it looks like you guys are shooting on Hasselblad with a phase back.
Yes, that's our right now. That's our go to because we're gonna we love cameras. We love lighting more than cameras, but we both have we got 5D Mark IIs, and he was like, and he was going to get the 5D Mark IVs, and then I was like, you might as well go mirrorless because it's changed.
That's the way of the world now.
And we're going to do it, but we have to. It's a whole ecosystem, so we need new cameras, need new lenses. It's like this is a lot. So the thing that hasn't changed was our medium format. We love our medium formats.
And I like the combination of the phase one back against the Hasselblad body.
Yes. So
Yeah,
it's just
that's something you don't. I saw that a lot when I was working in commercial, but I think for a lot of our audience and for the people probably watching, they have no idea what that is. So why? That's like combining like Canon and Nikon and like putting it together. Like,
Okay, that's a good analogy.
Right.
That's
so
a good
like why do that, and how did that come about?
Oh,
Before I got signed with my agent, I used to shoot with the Mamiya RZ67. And I had a phase one back on there as well. And he told me, if you want to play with the big dogs, you're going to have to upgrade your equipment and you're going to have to get yourself a Hasselblad. So I went to Digital Transitions and I bought the Hasselblad with a Hasselblad back. And I didn't like the feel of the photos. The phase one produced a different type of photo for me. So
Yeah.
I asked him, and I didn't like the feel of the phase one camera because to me at the time, it felt like a souped up 35 millimeter. So they said, well, we have the combination of the Hasselblad body with the phase one back. I said, let me give that a try. So they rented it to me for a week and I fell in love with the feel because I found that I like the Hasselblad cameras, but I like the phase one digital back technology.
Yep.
What begins to happen is my photos were coming out like paintings straight out of camera. When your photo is lit, this is any camera. When your photo is lit properly, you're going to get a great image. But when you have it against a 16-bit depth piece of machinery, my photos were looking like artwork coming straight out of the camera.
that was one of the beauties.
All the detail. Is it too much detail?
No, not really. You know what? It's not too much detail. That's why we are. You know what? We are really tedious.
The best answer to give you is yes.
Because we are tedious with how things are, like hair and makeup. We want it to be perfect.
But what we're talking about is this. I don't like using it on normal people.
Oh yeah, no.
It's too much information on a normal person.
It show too much.
Yeah.
You're right.
Can show too much on a normal person.
Too much.
It creates a retouching, way more work sometimes.
Yes, it can be.
Trust me, I know.
It can be.
And I mean the file management too. Like you can't shoot.
You can't see it right now. I have 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 10 hard drives. Yeah.
It can be.
All right, he's one of my favorite actors. How did this come about?
I'm a musician. I worked with Idris for a few years, and I told Dallas I know him, and he didn't believe me. I was like, I mean, like, yeah, whatever.
Okay,
whatever.
Say.
So I'm like, and I think we discussed working with him. We were in New York at the time, and we were talking about we were gonna move here, and I asked a friend, what would we need to be better prepared for LA? And he was like, you need to shoot celebrities. I'm like, do you know anybody? And I was like, I think I know like 2 people. And I reached out. I had all his.
The 2 people, so let's get this together. The 2 people is Michael B. Jordan
and
Idris Elba.
They're great 2 people.
I know,
exactly.
Right? I went to high school with Michael, but Idris I called every number, no answer. I'm like, what is going on? I emailed him, everything's bouncing back. I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. And then I just reached out on Instagram, like, Jers, what's going on? He's like, dang. I'm like, I need your help. He's like, okay, cool, no problem. I need your help. And so he flew us out to London, and he had us work on a project with Super Dry.
Oh, wow.
And we did Super Dry, and we recorded
In Rankin's studio.
Yeah. So
I don't know what studio is that. I'm not familiar with it.
Just his studio.
Do you know who Rankin is?
Uh-uh.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's it.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
He's one of the big dogs.
Well,
in the
he's
world,
a big
based
dog,
out of London.
Based out of London. Really, really cool. Really, I don't know. Rankin is. I'm sure you've seen his work.
You've seen his work. I can guarantee that.
Probably.
He's one of those people who's been around for a really long time. You'll love Rankin. Rankin is cool.
Yes.
Nice. All right, Dallas, you're up.
Yay.
All right. I am Dallas J. Logan. That's your
I am
handle.
Dallas
Everyone go follow him. All right. Very first one. Ooh.
I know, right?
This is a model I've been dying to work with for years. Everybody has their taste in their subject matters, and I like women that are androgynous. In the aspect of short hair, I hate dealing with long hair because to me it hides features. So she had no hair in her head, but her face was still very feminine and very feline. So that's how that came about. And she just came into my studio space and she moved like water. And that was it. And it was I'm really simplistic with my lighting. I'm really simplistic with my shooting. She allowed me for those free frames to fall in love with her.
And you were able to fall out of love.
Yes. Right because I'm a whore, so I'm done with you. I want to go to the next one. That's one thing I hate be shooting models. I hate once I'm done with you, we're done.
He has that thing.
You won't shoot him again.
I try not to.
I try not to. The girl that he had in this photo with the black fabric, she's one of the few models I work with more than once because every time there was a casting and she knew I was the photographer, she says, I'm coming because I know you're not going to shoot me again. So I'm going to get this job and you're going to shoot me again. So
nice.
I don't have that, by the way. Yeah, I don't have that.
I like to shoot. This was done. I used to work with Vincent Peters, and he inspired me from a photo shoot he did with Christina Aguilera, and that's what's prompted these photos.
Nice. I love the lighting.
Thank you very much. It's in the ebook, as a matter of fact.
Remember those photos?
And that's the color version.
So this is the color version of
the color version. I do have those photos. Those at least. Yep, those are the color versions.
And these are the ones that you shot, but of the same.
Well, it's not necessarily that I shot.
No,
if he posts a particular look from a shoot, I tend not to post it and post something different.
So if I post 1 and 3, 5, he'll post 2, 4, and 6.
Right.
Okay, cool.
Unless
so it looks like you post 3 at a time too. You gotta stay consistent. So are you like if you were to just post 2, how much would that bother you that your feed is now all messed up?
It in my core, in the deepness of my soul, it would kill me.
So if you only liked 2,
they won't get posted.
They won't get posted. Oh, that is dedication to the feed. Keep it consistent. I love it. All right. Do you have any shoots that I'm scrolling by that you want to go over that stand out? Have interesting stories?
Oh, look at Yusuf.
Oh, there's Yusuf.
This Yusuf?
Yes, that's Yusuf.
That's what I look like with my shirt off. So I get it. I get it.
Twins. He's a fitness model and trainer based out of New York.
And has never eaten a carb in his life.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
No cinnamon rolls, ever.
None. Unless they're protein cinnamon roll.
You showed a legendary Cafaro.
Who, him?
Oh, black and white.
The black and white.
Oh yeah.
This is Chris Cafaro. He is an amazing content photographer and celebrity photographer who was really big in the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s.
Yeah.
He's famous for shooting George Michael.
And
George Michael was his claim to fame.
And
Okay.
all of the pop and the rock scene, he's responsible. Any visual you saw, no
This
doubt,
guy was responsible for
he
it.
was doing all of
No
them.
doubt.
Anybody, it's
Ice Cube, Nirvana, Jane's Addiction.
Yep.
It was this guy here.
So he did all of the rock scene in the 90s and 2000s, and he's responsible for all those images, and he's a really good friend of ours.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Really good friend of ours. We went to his house and we told him.
And he said he needed a photo because he was going on tour for something.
Yeah.
So he brought a real simple light setup to his house, and this is what we came up with.
And he gave us hell the entire time. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like, shut
photographers
up.
are the worst. Photographers are the worst subjects.
So explain the lighting here. How much of this is in camera versus, retouching with the lighting that you have?
What you see is what you got. Yeah. I used a deep-throated octabox with a grid.
With a grid on it.
And that was it.
That's it.
And that's a bounce
One light. Wow.
One light.
I love it. And who makes the octabox?
Oh my God.
No.
I don't. You know what's funny? We don't know. Let me tell you why.
Photix.
Is it? That's what it is?
It's Photix Raja.
Hold on.
All right.
Let me tell you what happens is this. A friend of ours had it, and we call it the Carolyn. Her name was Carolyn. Her name is Carolyn. So we just call it the Carolyn. Oh, use the Carolyn. Oh, the Carolyn. Because it makes sense. But I have no idea.
When it works, it works.
Yeah.
It's a good mix of color and black and white. So
black and white.
If you had to choose, what would it be?
Ooh.
If I had to choose, it'd always be black and white.
Oh, I don't want to choose.
I'm about the tonal qualities.
Oh, I'm
about the tonal qualities of highlights and shadows. This was shot for Hollywood Weekly. The gentleman on the table is a celebrity stylist, and we had to do a photo shoot for Hollywood Weekly. And if you was to meet him, his energy is really, really big. But when he got in front of the camera, he was a dud. he just stood there. I'm like, you can't be this dude. So, this is not going to work. So I said, can you do me a favor? Get us a model down here, and the model's going to be your muse. And that's how that came about. That's why he doesn't know how to hold the camera.
So that wasn't intentional. That was just him holding the camera that way.
That's just him holding the camera. Because it was so hard to tell him, just do this. Just look through the viewfinder. He was like, I was like, okay, so I can see how this is going to go.
This is it.
That's hilarious.
This is a sample of my lighting diagram of my book, Light is Light, of lighting diagrams.
So your book, Light is Light, how long has it been out? And where do we get it?
Over 10 years.
Yeah.
It's on my website, DallasShayLogan.com/ebook.
What happens is the book
is a constant evolution.
Yeah, constant evolution. So whenever we shoot, literally we'll have a shoot in Dallas and say, step back and take a photo of the setup, and we'll take a photo of the setup, like we add this to the book. Try to do different things with lighting, try to do different techniques with lighting so we can show people what we do, how we do it, and try not to make the light so
the book is updated every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Depending on how busy my schedule is.
And how busy the shooting is, and we always try to try new stuff, do new things.
And that's the girl right there. That was the girl who day shot with the black fabric. That's her. Mm-hmm. This is the project.
Oh, okay, yeah.
This is the project for S10 magazine. So whenever I have a job and she can get on it, she will do her damnedest to get on the job.
I love it. And so this has over 100 lighting diagrams in it?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Over 100? It's a lot.
It's even a lot more than that. It could be like 150 now.
It's a lot.
And it covers beauty, commercial beauty, editorial beauty, commercial fashion, editorial fashion, portraiture lighting, as well as body lighting.
Nice. I love that.
Thank you.
So when is the next workshop that you guys have? are doing?
The next workshop I have coming up, I'm doing a retouch.
Thank you for looking at our photos.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. They're beautiful.
Thank you very much.
I'm doing a retouch class where I'm going to be teaching skin and some color grading. I always teach skin because it's the basic. We like things to look natural. We like things to look like it's not. I love when I have a client and I give them their photos and they say, "It looked like you didn't do anything." And I'm like, "Did you like to see it before?" But I love making things look natural. And I've noticed online that a lot of photographers, I love frequency separation, but they use it in which a way it makes the photos look kind of, the skin looks really weird. You get that basketball skin or it looks done. So I teach, it's not even really freaking, I teach the basics. I take them back to what it is to retouch, teach them how easy it is to retouch. Because everybody have this thing like, it's going to take me hours. It's like, it's not. If you learn what to look for, what to fix, and I take them through my steps, my workflow, teach them basic things, how to do things, how to make things look natural. And
let me break it down a little bit more.
Yeah, because he does it better.
People don't understand the signature style of retouching versus retouching itself. So sometimes when people look at photographs, they're like, I want my photograph to look like that, because they're looking at the retouching style of the photograph. Yeah. Or they'll say to me, make my photo look like yours. I'm like, retouching for us starts in the studio.
It starts with the lighting.
The lighting starts to retouch because the lighting dictates, is the blueprint for the retouch. So what begins to happen is Day doesn't teach him his style, because that's your special sauce. Mm-hmm. He does teach you the basic of getting to the style. Mm-hmm. So you have a nice solid image to begin with. Now let's talk about your style.
Yes.
You may want to dodge and burn this way, like Desiree Madsen.
Oh yeah.
She has a particular look. She's an amazing photographer. She has an amazing look to her style. But if you lift up her style, the retouching is the same.
It's basic. You do this.
You can retouch like Joe Grimes. You can retouch like Bryce. You can retouch like any of them. But what happens is we're looking at their style, not necessarily their retouch. So people take their classes because they want their work to look like Joe Grimes. They want their work to look like Sue Bryce. And it's like, we don't do that. If you come to my lighting class, I'm going to teach you how to light. I'm not going to teach you to light like me. I'm going to teach you the science of light. Day teaches the science of retouching.
Yeah.
How you apply it.
It's up to
your work
you.
Becomes your art.
Because
I love that.
To take it a step further, say, for instance, if you have brands like Anastasia Beverly Hills, they have a certain style in which they retouch.
As opposed to Fenty.
As opposed to MAC.
As opposed to Revlon.
If you look at 3 images from them, none of them look the same. So I'll teach you the basics. This is how you get it here. Now let's look at an image, and you can tell from me teaching you the basics what they used, how to get to that image. So clean you up, make the skin look beautiful, and then afterwards we work on the stylizing. So my next course, I'm trying to decide, because it was either going to be before Thanksgiving or after Thanksgiving. And so the next one is coming up. I'm going to probably
next week or so.
Yeah, I'm going to say when exactly the date is going to be, but I teach online courses. I do one-on-ones too, but this one is going to be a group course, teaching retouch. Everything is recorded, and we record it. You get to ask questions live. And I know sometimes when you're watching YouTube videos that you can't ask them, why did you do that? Or, what made you, you get to ask me live why something is or how something is.
Or he'll repeat a step. He said, let me do it again.
Yeah.
And he'll do the step again. Because you don't get that. Because if you go back and rewind the YouTube video, they're doing the same thing again. And he'll go, okay, let me show you this way.
Yeah.
There's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, I was going to say, so many different ways to do something. And I like doing the group classes, because when you do the group classes, you get to learn how people see things. And
not only that, when you do a group class, someone may have a question but are afraid to ask.
Yes.
And then the next person will ask the question, I wanted to ask that question. And they will go, why didn't you just ask the question?
Yeah. So a lot of that.
The fear is sounding stupid. That's a real thing.
I'd rather sound stupid and learn instead of being stupid and not know a damn thing.
Yeah, and we record it, and then afterwards, I give them the recording after the class is done, and also I give them homework because I want to make sure that they got the lesson. It's very important to me that you got the lesson and you didn't spend your money with me and didn't learn anything. Like I don't like
because
that.
the kiss of death for any teacher is I didn't learn anything.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. It would drive me crazy. So that's my next course. I'm teaching retouching. Skin always would be the basic. That would be the start. And afterwards, we're going to do some color grading to create a story. So that's next. And Dallas have his book.
And the difference with my book versus anybody else is you have access to me. Lots of times when people are selling merchandise, our relationship stops at the shopping cart. And it's like, no, please call me because you may have a question about something. For example, there's lots of times I've used a medium format camera in a photo shoot, and I match it exactly how I shot it. So if I shot past the lighting sync of Canon, you're going to set up the camera as you see it there, and you want to know why you have a black bar. If you don't know why, call me. Yeah. But I do explain all that. There's a whole section in the book of how to read the book. I explain these things as to why I use the medium format camera versus using the 35 millimeter. But I'm always a phone call away because it's not about this. I can teach you F8. Anybody can teach you F8. But sometimes having a conversation with the teacher solidifies a whole lot of fog that you may have in your brain. You know, if that makes any sense. So I try to remove the fog, and the fog is a phone call away. And so many times, people have not called me. And it's like, you could have. They'll be at a photo shoot, and they'll show me photos that they had issues with, and I'm like, how come you didn't just call me? Oh, I didn't think I could. Call me.
Or somebody will be at a photo shoot, and they'll say, "Hey, this isn't working," and we'll say, "Turn the camera around."
Turn the camera on, and we can fix it. We can fix it right there.
So I love that. In my, I did a podcast with a local photographer. He's a good friend of mine. His name's Michael Eastman, and he was, talking about the zone system, and he was like trying to figure it out. And he goes, something wasn't clicking, so he got the phone book out and called Ansel Adams, and he answered.
Nice.
Can you imagine calling him and be like, "Hey, this part about the zone system, I'm not understanding." I'm like talking to you over the phone.
And Ansel said it in English. This is it. This is what it is. Because we tend to make things more complicated than they need to be. Yeah. We think it's some mystical, magical thing, and it really isn't. And sometimes it's just talking in English or talking in a language you and I can meet at. So when Dave teaches his class, if there's a makeup artist in the class, Dave will talk to that person like a makeup artist. And then dodging and burning clicks, highlights and shadows click. He said it's no different. So sometimes having that conversation, me understanding your, for lack of a better word, your love language, I'll speak to you in your love language for you to understand why F8 works here better than 2.8.
And I've taught makeup artists how to retouch. So say, for instance, a photographer don't want to do the work. They'll say, take these images, and makeup artists are tired of it. Or makeup artists want to know how to shoot because they're not getting the work that they want. So we teach makeup artists how to shoot, and I teach them how to retouch their work. So it's a ton of people. I enjoy it. We love education. I love education. Love teaching new concepts to people, and because you hear so much. It's so hard. It take 30 hours to do this. It take this to do this. I had a friend who did a photo shoot, and he sent the images to the agency, and he was like, "Can we get the raws?" And he asked me why, and I said, "Because you must have over retouched the photo." And he was like, I said, "Let me see the work." He showed me the work. I said, "You definitely did too much." And he was like, "How would you have done this?" I hopped on the Zoom. We did the course. I think I retouched the image in 7 minutes, and he was so pissed off. He was like, what? And I was like, "You don't have to do all of that stuff that you did." And he was like, "Are you kidding me?" Sent those images in, and they took those images. So it's just demystifying a lot of stuff that you hear, how hard it is, or how strenuous this thing is.
Or they think you're not working hard enough.
Yeah.
Like a good image needs to be retouched for 3 hours. It's like, no,
it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It really doesn't.
So,
Know what you're doing and
know how to light it properly. Starting with the lighting, it dictates everything else.
so we don't like to fix.
You got to have a plan. You got to have a plan.
Literally, the first step to my retouching is called the plan. Making a plan of your retouching, and yeah, that's crazy.
Great minds think alike.
Exactly.
Well, guys, thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. I feel like we could just keep going on, and maybe we should. I would love to have you guys back on and maybe do a deep dive in lighting or retouching, and love to learn more about your guys' education. So
it would be a pleasure.
It would be an honor. Plus, we have so many mutual friends. I didn't know we had that many mutual friends, but yeah.
We can do a round table with all of them. Because they'll tell you how mean I am. So
and how Dallas put them on the spot to shoot when they didn't want to.
Yeah.
I'm the
Simon Cowell.
I love that.
I'm the Simon Cowell. So
I love that.
I remember one time we had a girl, and she was trying to get an angle, and I said, "Get on the floor, get on the floor." I put my foot on her back and pushed her to the floor. I said, "Now get the shot." She's like, "Oh my God, it's amazing down here." I'm like, "Yeah." So,
we have those moments.
Yeah, so if you got the round group together, you'll get those stories.
Get a whole bunch of stories.
One girl she was shooting, and I kept it's like Dave. Dave wants to step into fashion, but he's so locked into this portrait mode. Mm-hmm. So she's the same thing. She's locked in this portrait mode, and she did something, and they had the 5-in-1, and I bopped on the head and said, "Stop doing that." I said, "Oh,
stop making a portrait.
Not a portrait." And she's like, "Oh my God." And it's like, those are how my teachers were to me.
You'll hear some of these stories. But anyway.
Yeah. But no, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to meeting you guys one day.
Absolutely. Thank you. We would love to come out and go into your basement.
Let's do it. Let's have basement time.
That's it. Ooh, wow. Thank you so much.
And on that note, I appreciate everyone who's still with us. The three of you. So, to stream this, you can stream this on the apps. You can go to learn.proedu.com if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. These are going to be completely free to watch. So love you guys' support, and hope to see you guys soon.
All right. Have a good day, sir. Thank you so much.
Bye.
This podcast is officially over. See you next time. Catch you a little later on down the trail, dude. Thanks for listening. I get out of here and start shooting.
I can remember very distinctly one of the very first classes. You had to take one roll of film and tell a story. And you got 4x6 prints made of them and you put them on the wall. I remember watching some of the people's images go up on the board and being like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? These people are so talented.
I was a DJ. I worked a lot at night. Sort of felt that itch to do something else. And after some soul searching, the only thing that I was excited about doing was taking pictures.
And I would Photoshop myself into other places. And a lot of times it never even went online. I didn't care because it wasn't for necessarily the world. It was because I wished I was anywhere other than where I was.
I suppose academically I failed everything, so I was left with very few choices.
I was cater waitering. I'd work till 11, 12 o'clock at night, retouch until 3 or 4 in the morning. Even though I didn't really have the talent, I'd be willing to work when other people would sleep.
And at times I look at my work and I think, damn, I'm a shitty photographer. Fuck, it's nothing.
You have this idea of what can be done because you're assisting, and you just can't create it.
So often today as artists, I think we get ideas and we end up sitting on them and we don't follow through. I think we can be our worst enemies.
I will talk myself out of a project before I even begin it because I think about all the things that might go wrong or could go wrong.
When you first start out with doing anything, you've got like 5 people, one of those is your mum following you, and it's just like difficult to get accurate feedback.
You have to be willing to be rejected by the artwork, by yourself, by your peers.
We get worried what our peers are going to think. We get worried what the talent is going to think or what the celebrity is going to think.
And for me, it was always like, I understand that, but I also understand that you have to be passionate enough to throw the excuses aside and just start the process.
First struggling, then assisting full-time for 3 years, then struggling some more, then retouching, freelancing, getting my first job.
But I'll lay in bed and something will just pop in my head and I just go, what if? Wouldn't it be interesting if?
Try it it didn't work, throw it out. Try it, it didn't work, throw it out. Try it, it works, it doesn't work, throw it out.
You know, you don't become a great photographer, you don't become a great painter, you don't become a great sculptor without having some downfalls and going in the wrong direction.
I allow myself to fail because I like to fail, because I like to grow. But you have to decide that you want it, because it's not easy to be great at anything.
Even though I'm not at the place I want to be, I'm still moving forward.
Nobody's going to love everything that we do. But I think you have to take a chance.